happening, guys? How's everyone doing out there? How is everyone doing out this Halloween night, October 31st, Saturday night, 2020. This is A Spawn X along with Jade, and we are on the second edition of the Wrestling Weekend Review. And we definitely have a lot to talk about, especially with the latest going on with this week that took place on Raw, SmackDown, and of course the Wednesday Night Wars with AEW and NXT. Definitely a lot going on. So let's just get started. But before we get into it, I want to state that everything that is said on this episode, it only reflects our opinions and views. It does not necessarily reflect of anything and everyone that has to do with the companies that we talk about, or does not reflect owners, employees of the platform that we're on, speaking our truth. And now, don't have a cow, man. All right, Jay, let's get started with another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Review. I understand that you have something to talk about based on what took place a week ago, I believe, at Bound for Glory. What will that be?
Yes, I do, and I just want to point out that while we were doing this podcasting last Saturday, Impact Wrestling held their end all be all Bound for Glory, and I just found out days ago that last Saturday, Rich Swann defeated Eric Young to become the new Impact Wrestling champion. It's been long overdue, and of course we all know that Rich Swann was previously in WWE, and according to unexpected issues or whatnot, he was terminated from the company, which is why he is now in Impact Wrestling, and he has proven once and for all that he is no walk in the park. He has battled it on night in and out just to prove that he can belong in this industry. And last Saturday, he proved it when he defeated Eric Young and become the new Impact Wrestling champion.
That's very interesting to hear. It really is. The time that I seen Rich Swann on WWE, obviously one heck of an athlete. Very aerial, does a lot of high flying. And I think he was going through some sort of a rough patch before they let him go. So that was unfortunate, but it's good to see that he's moved on to, bigger and better for him. Now he's Impact champion. My congratulations to him. I'm proud of the fact that he's doing well for himself. Hopefully if Impact has a lot of great faith in Rich Swann, and they're giving him the run with the ball, then hopefully he has one heck of a run with it. Hopefully it's not something for the short term. Hopefully something maybe mid to long. I don't know, but a decent run nonetheless. Because it would be a waste if, the run would just be something short term. If it's something short term, I'm pretty sure they don't have anything definite planned for him. But hopefully his run is decent and he has a good longevity run with the championship. Something 200, 300 days or something like that, until there's a suitable opponent that could take the championship from him, and that individual gets to run, for themselves as well, and for the company to prosper also. Any word on the Good Brothers? How they did at Bound for Glory?
They were in that fatal 4-way tag match, but unfortunately they did not win the Impact tag titles. But hopefully this is just a partial setback. But hopefully for Luke and Carl, will the fight doesn't end, because we all know, and some of you know, how Luke and Carl are a very good tag team ever since they were part of the Bullet Club. These guys are not a walk in the park. And yes, and I just want to point out that their run in WWE was not the way it should have been, because they were a great, phenomenal tag team, and it's just sad to say that their talents, or whatever they could offer at the table, sadly was not good enough for the company. But regardless of that, I think they're in Impact Wrestling for the long haul. They can be champions again, because they are a great tag team. And I say, even though they lost last Saturday, hopefully it will be something. It will set the stage for something better for Luke and Carl. I know they're not going to be denied. They will not rest until they taste tag team, especially in Impact Wrestling.
Well, that's good. It's a shame that they didn't got the belt, because I still believe Anderson and Gallows are one of the best tag teams that I've seen since they were a tag team in Bullet Club. They were just one of the best teams I've seen around that time, and that's how WWE wanted to get a hold of them and wanted to bring them in along with AJ Styles for them to be, WWE's version of the club. So, knowing that they still have value, that they can still go, it's just unfortunate that WWE couldn't keep them, because they pretty much ran with every existing tag team that WWE had. And I guess what is there left for Gallows and Anderson to accomplish there? They've been Raw Tag Team Champions, but they never been SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That's the only thing. But nonetheless, they won WWE Tag Gold. It's in their records. That can never be taken away. But hopefully they do get to accomplish to be Impact Tag Team Champions one day. But I didn't get into the story, but supposedly, I believe they have a short-term contract with Impact, and their contract might be up either this month or next month. I'm going to see if I can get into the story. I only seen a video cover of it, but there's no link. Hopefully, before the show ends, we can jump into that story and talk about it more. All right. So, is there anything else you wanted to address with Bound for Glory or anything like that, or something else?
Not so much with Bound for Glory, but last Tuesday on Impact days after Bound for Glory, I never thought that I saw one of the most suspenseful wildest segments at the night. Because for those of you who follow Impact Wrestling, everybody, you look at the rundown of the show, the card, and one of the most featured segments that night was what could have been the marriage between Johnny Bravo and Rosemary, and there were a whole slew of old faces, and we saw there was Swaggle, there was Abuela Loca, Taya, Tommy Dreamer, and a whole lot of people, and presiding the ceremony was Father James Mitchell, formerly James Vandenberg.
Who's that? What a loca again?
Taya.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot they call her that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Nonetheless.
Because she did. Sorry to interrupt, but she did, because she did wrestle in Mexico too.
Yes. Yes, she did.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Yes. Okay. But back to the segment. The outlook pretty much was that Johnny fell in love with Rosemary, and it looked like they were like these were two cooks in love, and it looked like these two were about to get married. And just when James Mitchell was about to say do, all of a sudden the whole arena went black. There was like a 520,000 voltage, and then once the lights came on, all of a sudden Johnny Bravo, the groom, was found unconscious in the ring, as if as if he was killed by electric voltage, and Tommy Dreamer was like, no, this cannot be happy. Johnny cannot be there. And for the record, I don't know what was the gist of it, but it was like someone did not wanted Johnny to marry Rosemary. Someone blatantly sabotaged the ceremony. But all I can say is the only way to find out is we have to keep tuned to Impact every Tuesday night.
Crazy question. Who's Johnny Bravo?
He's Taya's sidekick. He's a lackey, if you will.
Titus' sidekick. Oh, Titus, who used to be
Taya's sidekick. Taya's sidekick. Her guy, her golfer, if you will. Her
Titus or
Taya's.
Tyus? Who's Tyus?
Taya Valkyrie.
Oh, oh, her sidekick.
Yes.
Oh, okay, but still, who plays Johnny Bravo? Definitely not Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch.
No.
And he's definitely not the Cartoon Network character.
I don't know who plays Johnny Bravo. I mean, I don't know
who's even the genius behind Johnny Bravo.
They
couldn't find a better name to suit the guy.
I got no clue. I mean, like I said, though, I find the character very kooky, like I mentioned.
Kooky, like what? Like Chips Ahoy or something? or cookie, like a cookie lady that sells cookies.
No, kooky like he probably escaped from the nut house.
So he's loony.
Yes,
loony from the Looney Bins. Anything else you want to address from Impact?
Just that segment.
All right. So let's jump the gun here and let's talk about instead of having to talk about just separately AEW and NXT, since they are on Wednesday nights and they are in a war. Let's just say that this week I'm surprised that then again, I shouldn't be surprised, but NXT won this week in the ratings against AEW, and I assume because of the way NXT made the headlines this week with, of course, Halloween Havoc. So let's get into the story and let's see if we can find out what are the details behind this the story going in about NXT winning over Dynamite. So of course the only sources that we trust learning about anything wrestling wise, we always stay tuned with PWI, Wrestle Talk, other sources in between. But that's normally where we go for to learn for, anything that happens during the week, any big news, that type of thing. You want to follow them as well. Of course, we hear also stories that happens with Brian Alvarez and such. So the story goes, it pretty much seems that Halloween helped one company big time this week. So supposedly this week's NXT drew 876,000 viewers. This one went up 27% from last week's show that drew 644,000. This week NXT saw 232,000 viewer increase. AEW Dynamite drew 781,000 viewers. This is only up 4% from last week's show that drew 753,000. So this week's AEW saw a 28,000 viewer increase. Overall on television, the night was won by Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News. And I'm not even going to bother mentioning the numbers. Who cares? I don't even watch that show. Probably political and stuff. Who cares? The demographics in the 18 to 49 demo, AEW did a 0.32 and NXT did a 0.25. In the 1834 demo, AEW did a 0.20 and NXT did a 0.15. In the 50 plus demo, AEW did a .29, and NXT did a .43 in the all-important 18 to 49 demographic. Dynamite was ranked 12th, and NXT ranked 21st. On cable, Tucker Carlson won the night. On all television, The Masked Singer on Fox did a 1.18 to 49 demo. Now, the highlights. These are the top three that took place on Dynamite. And while we're talking about it, we might as well address it since these are the topics that these are some of the topics we're going to be talking about anyway. The good that happened in AEW that really, really got our attention. So we start with Dynamite, and of course, since they are addressing the top three, we're going to start from bottom to the top. So the Lumberjack match that took place for the All Elite Wrestling Turner Network Television Championship. Thank you very much. On YouTube, it had over 118,000 views. And the match was pretty good. This was the rematch that the American Nightmare Cody had against Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed. This one really, I think it stepped it up a little bit more. Didn't notice much difference. I mean, there were good, moves here and there. There was some aerial stuff. But I think what took away, if I remember correctly, was the intrusion of the Dark Order. That's what I think did it. And I think in a way that kind of cheated Orange Cassidy from maybe a believable point that he could have been the one that could take it away from Cody. But Cody saw that opening, and of course, he kept the TNT title once again.
I gotta point out saying that last Wednesday's Lumberjack match, and yes, both Orange Cassidy and Cody gave it the route, but throughout the match, it was as if you got the Lumberjacks surrounding the ring, but unfortunately, because of, like you mentioned, the Dark Order, there was barely any semblance of order, as I could put it that, because Dark Order constantly kept instigating as if they were doing every attempt to ensure that Cody lost the belt. But unfortunately, their efforts backfired because with all the other Lumberjacks surrounding the ring, they knew what they knew what the Dark Order's intent is, and they said like, oh no, it's like we want to ensure it's a fair match. Unfortunately, it just combusted in the chaos right outside the ring. But nonetheless, both Orange and Cody kept the focus. But last Wednesday, the better man won, and it was Cody. And then it's going to be on to next Wednesday. Next Saturday at Full Gear when Cody defends against Darby Allin.
And of course, once we're done talking about Dynamite, we're gonna run down the card for Full Gear coming up for November 7th, which is going to be seen on pay-per-view, BR Live. Since we got Sling, we watch it through Sling pay-per-view, which is even better because, we don't have actual cable or satellite. Done with that. We tried BR Live, but I think, because we were viewing it on Wi-Fi, we have been getting issues. But then with Sling, though, with the Sling pay-per-view, there was no issue at all. So we watched, what was the pay-per-view that we watched last with AEW?
On Sling? Wasn't it All Out?
Yeah, All Out. And yeah, we didn't have no issues watching it through Sling pay-per-view. Because we used it with Wi-Fi at the time, but now we're, Ethernet all the way through. I am gonna plan on ordering Full Gear because it's got some very interesting matches that I want to see, and I did talk about it last week, and I'm gonna talk about it once again. So the next one we're gonna talk about win and you are in the inner circle. Can MJF get the job done? The video on YouTube got over 136,000 views. Now that segment, what was it? The town hall meeting with Jericho in the inner circle, MJF. Did you get to see that segment?
No, but I heard some things about it.
Oh, okay. You should have seen the segment. How there were people throwing in questions. Some AEW wrestlers. I was surprised that Eric Bischoff got seen into this segment. You know how Eric Bischoff was involved before, coming back onto Turner Network Television after 20 plus years. For him to be seen in AEW, it was like, in a way, kind of nostalgic, but at the same time symbolic, because Eric Bischoff gave it his all when he was running WCW under the Turner banner, you know, and him coming back to be seen on Turner Television again, it's like, you know, I never thought that we would see it again. You know, that's why the saying goes, never say never. But yeah, we got to see, I got to see Bischoff again, and he had some very, very interesting questions to ask MJF. But then you had the little moment where Jericho was acting like a crybaby and just complained about Eric Bischoff. And Tony, for the first time ever in life, he actually said, "Shut up" to Chris Jericho. I was like, whoa, that's been a long time coming. Like, damn. You know, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I heard it from Tony Schiavone. Like, seriously, man. That should have been him ever since the Nitro days, like when Jericho was really playing a crybaby in his young days. But yeah, because Jericho portraying Le Champion isn't acting like a Le Champion. He's acting like the crybaby, you know, literally. But they had a lot of good dialogue back and forth, and of course the inner circle, the rest of the inner circle, they told MJF off. They told him, "We don't want you in the inner circle, man." Especially Sammy, who was so pissed off from the beginning that, you know, how MJF, you know, got the rest of the guys gifts, but Sammy never came his on time, and he ended up getting, I think, a triple, quadruple X jacket. He looked like he can barely grow into that sucker, but oh my God, it was just comical. But nonetheless, yeah, a lot of dialogue back and forth in that segment. But I think what really made the difference was Bischoff's involvement in this one. And this is the second time that Eric Bischoff is involved going against Chris Jericho. Because I don't know in real life if they really have that animosity, but in front of the camera, it is so beautifully defined how back in WWE, they did work together. And yes, there was like a good back and forth working relationship on camera. But then, of course, it went sour. Involving John Cena between those two guys. This was back in 2006. But now it's 2020, and here they are, you know, in different timelines and patterns and in AEW, and you can still feel that animosity, you know, going afloat. Will this be the end of seeing Eric Bischoff in AEW going against Chris Jericho? Only God knows. But I think they got something here. And I think Eric Bischoff should get more involved. Not on an everyday basis, but like a once in a while type of thing. Just as the same rhythm pattern as how they did it with the with that segment on the debate between Cassidy and Jericho, and how they were doing with this town hall meeting between Jericho and MJF.
Well, honestly, I really don't know how this is gonna work out, because, I mean, yes, having Eric Bischoff on AEW, I agree with you with the fact that that should Eric Bischoff participate within AEW, it's like, yeah, it's like he makes some money here and there. The only thing I recall from the between what was like between Eric Bischoff and Chris Jericho was not so much on camera, but what happened off camera, and this coincidentally involved when when Chris Jericho was in WCW years ago, when Eric Bischoff was legitimately in charge of the company. Chris Jericho was a great wrestler, an up and coming wrestler, and of course the Cryberry. But nonetheless, I recall when Chris Jericho said that he had great he was a good wrestler, he had great potential and everything. But then in the fall of 1998, all of a sudden a discord happened between him and Eric Bischoff, which much to Chris Jericho's chagrin, he was put in a role that quite frankly he didn't like, and Jericho knew that he was not gonna get it out of that funk or whatever, because Bischoff was in control. So therefore, Chris Jericho said, "Screw this! I know this place is a cesspool. I want out of WCW." And that's why he decided to go sign with WWE. But the Eric Bischoff that we see now and the Eric Bischoff that was there back then, they're barely there. I mean, he's not the same. He's not the same jackass. Let's call a spade a spade. The guy's a weenie, but he's a weenie that we can all get behind. Not to say that his goal is to be a thorn in the side on Chris Jericho. Not always, not always, but actually, Eric Bischoff is a breath of fresh air every once in a while. So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, because I still believe Eric Bischoff has value. He loves the sport as much as anybody else. He's not doing it for the money, because if that would have been the case, he probably wouldn't even be seen on TV. To me, Eric Bischoff he's the reason why WCW succeeded once he came on board as executive producer for WCW back in 1995, right? 1995.
Right.
Yeah. So pieces were set, and he got the superstars that he could get launching Nitro, and that became successful. And then how to keep the viewers, let's create the NWO and make Hulk Hogan the bad guy. And then, one thing led to another. And then, of course, we can get into that story in Deep Rooted, but, that's a different story for another time. But I still believe Bischoff he still has value for entertainment nonetheless. And like I said, having him here and there would be good. Here and there. Not on an every weekly basis, because, the last thing you want to do is kill a segment or kill a product with somebody's presence who's not even officially a part of AEW or anything like that. But like I said, still, Bischoff still has value, and it's a good thing that he was involved for this segment, because like I said, he brought up interesting questions for MJF, and MJF gave his best answers. But the question is, leading up to Full Gear, can he defeat Le Champion and become a part of the Inner Circle? That's the question that we'll see November 7th. Okay, now the top viewing video on YouTube was the match that took place between Pentagon Jr. and the return of the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Did Penta, El Cero Miedo, or Kenny Omega move into the finals? That video, over 229,000 views on YouTube. Now, my opinion on that match superseded a tad. I don't think people are going to agree with what I'm saying, and it's okay. Everybody's got their views and takes on that match. To me, their match at All In was classic, and that will never be replicated. But what took place last Wednesday, that was a whole different scenario, a whole different view, a whole different taste, but shades of what we already witnessed with them 4-5 years ago, give or take. These guys were just dynamic, going one up each other. But I knew at the very end, as good as Pentagon Jr. is to me, And I know how heart and souled Kenny Omega is, putting in his best into every single match that he's done in his career. I knew at the very end the cleaner was going to take it all away.
Yes, and I do agree with you on one thing, because that contendership match last Wednesday, and we did see shades of All In when the first time they collided, but we all know where the marbles were going. That whoever wins in this match earns a spot in the tournament for the title contendership. Both Pentagon and Kenny gave it the all. It was like they did everything. They did all the moves. They did all. There was Chavez, Kenny with the V triggers, Pentagon with his arsenal, and both men gave it the all. But in the end, it was Kenny, the one that prevailed, and now it's on to Full Gear, and like we called it last week, it's gonna be him and Hangman Page, and whoever wins out of those two will face either the winner of whoever wins out of those two will either challenge either Jon Moxley or Eddie Kingston.
This one's going to be kind of tough to call, because Hangman's plan, ever since he's been a part of AEW, his ultimate goal was to become AEW World Champion, and unfortunately, that ride has been cut short because of Pac, I believe. And speaking of Pac, one of the main spoilers we're about to unleash in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pac is going to make his return this Wednesday on Dynamite, and he's going to break his silence. Now, you just got wind of that just half an hour ago. And what is going to be very interesting to see when it comes to Pac is how is he going to rebuttal what Eddie Kingston said about Pac about a month or two ago, because he kind of took Eddie Kingston in a promo kind of took a shot at Pac after Eddie Kingston started to form his road buddies that he has worked with in the past to come together to back up Eddie Kingston, to be there for Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston to be there for them as well. Because supposedly these are people that he trusts. These are people that he's been down the road with. These are people that can have his back and he can do for them. So it's going to be interesting, because before the pandemic, El Triángulo de la Muerte, the Death Triangle, they were on to a good start. Here I thought we were going to see this cynical group, this die-hard attitude of a group that can easily give such hard-ass shots. And I know they could take some, but give back just more to the power of 10. They could be a formidable trio in AEW. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, once again, and God, how I hate it, we didn't get to see that. And I think Pac was out of the country because of it. There were other reasons, but I'm pretty sure he's going to state everything that he's going to have to say this Wednesday. But Death Triangle was onto a very good start. Unfortunately, the finish or whatever, it didn't last as well as we thought. So now the question is Pac going to come back and get at his former partners? Is he going to get back at Eddie Kingston for what he just said? What is on Pac's agenda? What is he going to address? What is he going to break his silence on about? Will it be about his former pals, the Lucha Brothers? What Eddie Kingston said? What is on his agenda? Only we will find out on Wednesday. But yeah, Pac is going to come back this Wednesday on Dynamite. Can't wait to see how that angle is going to turn about. And yeah, for the match with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, like I said, Hangman's agenda from the beginning was to be AEW World Champion. But now that we're seeing Kenny go on his singles career against his former tag team partner, who he became AEW World Tag Champions with, And since the elite right now is separated, this is going to be an interesting match nonetheless. We're going to see who has it more, Omega or Hangman. Both of them, they have heart and soul. It's really hard for me to even pick who is going to advance. I know Kenny can do it because he is full of confidence. He's full of himself. He can take this right to the next plateau. But I really want to see Adam Page succeed. I really want to see him become AEW World Champion. Kenny, he can have that shot at any time he wants. Maybe the time for him is now. Maybe not. I don't know. But in my heart is telling me that Adam Page, I got to see Adam Page as AEW World Champion, to be honest. Or at least to defeat Kenny Omega to get to Jon Moxley.
And yes, you did bring up the points, because when it comes to Hangman brings Hangman's tenacious, he's driven, and we recall that he had an opportunity to become AEW champion when the belt was inaugurated, but it was Chris Jericho who took it. But nonetheless, come next Saturday when Hangman and Kenny will collide, and to say who will be the man who will challenge for the AEW championship. We apologize for the camera, but nonetheless, it is difficult because Hangman can't wait to taste championship gold, heavyweight championship gold, at least just once in his career. Kenny has tasted heavyweight gold, but he has never tasted the AEW heavyweight title. All we can say is, come next Saturday, may the best out of the two win. I mean, if it's Hangman, we congratulate Hangman, and he could taste his first heavyweight gold. But if it's Kenny, we could congratulate Kenny and say this will be the first time that he'll vie for the AEW heavyweight title.
All right. Is there anything else you want to address from Dynamite, good or bad, that you witnessed, besides these three segments that we already talked about?
Well, actually, I do want to address something by surprise, because some of you already know that last that recently Thunder Rosa is now no longer the NW Women's Champion.
Good thing you brought that up. Yes.
Serena Deeb is now the new NWA Women's Champion, and I just want to say that when Thunder Rosa challenged Hikaru Shida in the champion versus champion match at All Out, it was truly amazing. It was truly a great match.
It was one of the best matches I've ever witnessed that Thunder Rosa has put on. Hikaru Shida was just amazing. I mean, there was an equality of level between the two.
Right.
I was impressed. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to see All Out, because of that match, along with the AEW World Championship and also the TNT Championship, amongst other champions. But that one match, Shida and Thunder Rosa, I wanted to see how good that one was going to get. So yeah, Thunder Rosa is no longer NWA Women's World Champion. The latest that I heard, supposedly she dropped the title to Serena Deeb, and we all know Serena Deeb. She has been, she was with WWE some time ago, and now she used to work for WWE and NXT, being part of coaching the women there and all of that. But now that they let her go, I believe the fact that she wanted to retake her career and relaunch it and get back out on the road and perform, and just keep up and go against all of these women in the independent circuit and now AEW. Supposedly now what's looking good for Thunder Rosa, supposedly the rumors, I haven't heard any stories or any follow-ups, the latest rumor was that she would sign a contract, or she is going to sign a contract with WWE. If she does land a contract, in my opinion, with WWE, it would have to start off with NXT. If I really don't see her moving up to the big leagues, going to Raw or SmackDown or anything like that, because, we all know about Thunder Rosa, what she can do in the indie circuit. I mean, when she was in NWA World's Champion, she was wrestling all around the world. She was getting numerous titles all around the world. NWA Women's title wasn't the only title that she held. She held other titles. And right now my mind is blank on which other titles that she had. But during that time, she was defending the NWA World's title around the world. She had other titles too with her. I mean, Thunder Rosa was trying to get her name out there, show her stuff, and just show what a kick-ass woman she really is. And that's why I'm behind her all the way. She is just amazing at what she does. Simply amazing. So hopefully at this point, wherever she goes, best of luck. If she does come and sign an agreement and a contract with WWE, best of luck. If not, she decides to reconsider and continue in the indie circuit, best of luck. Just as long as her name is out there and she does her best and still kick ass, that's all that I want for Thunder Rosa. As a fan to her, best of luck nonetheless. Anything else you want to address while we're still on the topic of Dynamite?
Not really. That's all that popped into my head.
Yeah, I can't think of anything much, but I'm pretty sure if something does come up, we'll definitely address it before the night is over. Is the clock going to change on us already in a matter of hours?
Yes.
We're going back an hour?
Yes, we enter standard time.
So since we're on Central Time, we're going to get the first 1 o'clock. But then once 2 a.m. hits, it's going back an hour, 1 o'clock again.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to be sure. Because we are going to end this show by midnight. Because also there's something I want to test out with Plus.
Mm-hmm.
MK Plus. They already got an update, and I got to check that out to see if it's working.
Oh, okay.
So with that said, now we're going to move with NXT. So these are they already got the top 3 most viewed videos on YouTube, but we're going to start from number 3. Of course, the match that took place between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. That match had over 190,000 views as of this article that was written October 29th. So I'm pretty sure there's more views at this point. And all the other videos that I mentioned as well, I'm pretty sure they got more views right now as we speak, because this is just the article that we're addressing that was written and published October 29th. The match between Ripley and Gonzalez. My view, that for me, I'm all about, Latinos and Latinas progressing themselves. I think Raquel Gonzalez has something there that just needs a little bit more sparking. She did pretty good in her match, and I knew that Rhea Ripley was going to win it overall. But I think Raquel Gonzalez has a value. I don't know if that potential is ever going to be reached in WWE. Something tells me no. Very little tells me yes, but I guess only Raquel would know how she's going to progress herself. While they're still using her in WWE, she's got to take every chance and opportunity that she can to succeed. If not, if she's going to be dumped on the side like some used towel or whatever, then she knows what she has to do and go somewhere else. But my view, they gave it their all in that match, and of course Rhea Ripley won that match this past Wednesday at Halloween Havoc.
Yes, and And I gotta say, ever since she became the new NXT Women's Champion, Rhea has been defending it like for whenever she faces challenges, and I gotta say that even though I did not see much of this title defense, Raquel gave it her all, and yes, like you mentioned, she fell short against Rhea because she just defended it, with all her might, just to retain the NXT Women's title, and I agree with you that hopefully this is something, this is the beginning for something good for Raquel, that she's not in any way, shape, or form put in a ridiculous role, that she can be a powerhouse, and yes, eventually a future women's champion within the brand.
Okay, you do know that Rhea Ripley's not the champion, right?
Oh,
yeah, she's not the champion.
Okay,
it's still Io Shirai.
All right, it's still okay. It's still Shirai.
Io Shirai is still the champion.
Okay, correction. But nonetheless, these are two powerhouses.
Oh yes.
Yeah, these are two funny powerhouses between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez, and of course, I mean, I would say whether she's champion or not, Rhea brings out a certain arsenal, and I just want to say that hopefully that this setback doesn't upset Raquel one bit, that she can be better.
Yeah, I hope so too, and I think she will be better. It's just a matter of her getting more opportunities in the future. Hopefully, this is not the last that we see of her, and hopefully, the NXT WWE, they still, have her in consideration for further use, for, to challenge any other women or newcomers coming in, because Raquel has been on a roll despite her losing matches. Doesn't matter, but what she does in the ring, to me that's what counts, of her being used the right way. Now, speaking of the NXT Women's title, moving on, Io Shirai defended against Candice LeRae, and this is one of the throwbacks to where Halloween Havoc back in the 90s, they did the whole spin the wheel, make a deal type of thing, and that's one of the things that we should have watched while we were watching those reruns of Halloween Havoc on the network, because they had the wheel back then, and they used it for some matches. For which matches we don't know, but we ended up watching just the Halloween Havoc, or at least I watched a little bit of when it took place here in Chicago at the UIC Pavilion back in what year?
1990.
1990. The match that we witnessed was the Nasty Boys against the Steiner brothers for the United States Tag Championships, and the Steiners, they were the champions.
Yes,
and they had one heck of a rivalry from what I saw. If only there was a timeline where there was WCW programming tied right next to that Halloween Havoc, just to follow that pattern of how that story started and how it evolved and how it ended. But yeah, they were Nasty Boys. They were all over the Steiners. I'll tell you that. They were all over the Steiners. It was a crazy match. And of course, that match, if you don't want to watch Halloween Havoc of that year in full, if you have the network, that match is a part of also the Best of WWE Halloween Havoc on the network as well. Check it out. I recommend it. So back to the women's title between Shirai and LeRae. It was the spin the wheel, make a deal. It ended up being a tables, ladders, and scares match. That match was seen as of this past Thursday. There could be more views, but it was recorded on Thursday, 299,000 views. That match between LeRae and Shirai, of course, another stealer. It was another great match. A lot of back and forth. LeRae did own it for a little bit. Io Shirai owned it for a good portion of it. there was a lot of back and forth, and at the end, Io Shirai retained the title, but it was one heck of a match. Despite what the wheel was gonna be set for them, and nobody expected for it to end up with tables, ladders, and scares match, but it was one of those wicked matches that at first I was kind of skeptical about, but at the very end it's like they were ready to tear the house down with whatever they used, and it was just awesome to watch. It really was. So that's the second one, the top one. And now I'm understanding why the involvement of Pat McAfee, the Sirius radio man. So the top video is, of course, another shocking ally joins Pat McAfee against the Undisputed Era. Well, in this case, Kyle O'Reilly, because where's the rest of the guys? Where's the rest of the Undisputed Era guys? They weren't seen. And Kyle O'Reilly was the one that got the beat down. So that video, as of this past Thursday, over 299,000 views as well. But that one, to me, I think that segment alone, that really got me shocked. Well, shocked in a way, but at the very same time, I smelled it. I knew one way or another that the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne return was to help out Pat McAfee and the tag team champions, Oney Lorcan and Paul Burch. I had that feeling. I just had that feeling before Dunne had a chair and was ready to swing at Kyle O'Reilly. I just knew it, that he was going to line himself with them three. So, yeah, the question, where's the rest of the guys? Obviously, they were down and out. Adam Cole wasn't there. Bobby Fish wasn't there. Roderick Strong wasn't there. The one who took all that pain and beating was Kyle O'Reilly, unfortunately. But, yeah, now we have a group. Now we have an alliance that'll definitely go up against a soft Undisputed Era.
I gotta admit, last when I saw that when I saw that Havoc show last Wednesday, I was taken aback seeing that the Bruiserweight would have let himself with Pat McAfee and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. But I can't seem surprised either, because at one point Pete was victimized by the Undisputed Era, and because of what transpired last Wednesday, there's people hinting that Pat McAfee has his guys. He's got Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and now Pete Dunne. And they're saying what's going to set the stage for what will take place next month before Survivor Series, which is another the takeover, which is or should I say the takeover War Games, because that's pretty much now a staple for NXT now. It's like you got Pat McAfee and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, and now the Bruiserweight against the Undisputed Era, because the bad blood between Adam Cole and Pat McAfee is now reaching a fever pitch. And if that is the case, when we see little by little the Undisputed Era regroup and back to full form, and they will take McAfee and Lorcan and Burch and the Bruiserweight, and they'll just say, let's duke it out. We take it on at War Games, because I think there's gonna be a War Games despite the pandemic, or it's gonna be something else this year. But if it's still 1-4, we'll see where things go before Survivor Series takes place this year.
Two things I want to address while we're still on the topic of NXT Halloween Havoc. I'm surprised that out of these top three, or maybe it's in the top five, I don't know, the match that Johnny Gargano had with Damian Priest for the North American Championship, I thought I was impressed. I was impressed for what I saw. Gargano still has it in him. Damian Priest took everything that he had and then some. but I didn't expect the finish that I saw. The question is, who in the hell is behind that scream mask? Now we're going to have to wait until next Wednesday to see who the heck wanted to see Damian Priest go down and lose that championship. It's probably going to come back to me. I know I'm going to have that on my mind all this week until Wednesday. But yeah, that's the one question that got me stunned. Who in the hell is behind that scream mask? Who in the hell is behind that outfit? Because nonetheless, Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest, they were all over that that arena, that CWC arena, and they were fighting each other until nobody else could, and it went down the way it went down. To me, that match, was all right, and it was one of the good ones that I've seen, But Gargano, obviously, he reclaimed. Now he's a 2-time North American championship. The Haunted House of Terror. I did mention to you that was a cinematic match, right?
Yes.
Between Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis. It was cool how it was put together, but that match was not even in the category of saying best match or best presentation, like how they did it with Undertaker and AJ Styles, or any other cinematic matches that they have done this year for 2020 during the pandemic period. Will it be anywhere within the top 10? God only knows. But I know one thing for sure. Before we conclude this year, you and I, we're going to watch back every single cinematic match that took place this year, and we're going to give our own review. We're going to give our top 10 of the cinematic matches that WWE has put together during the pandemic period. I know it's going to be one of the least favorites. It did had some spooks and screaming periods, and there was some harsh beatings between Lumis and Grimes, but it was really nothing, I guess you could say, impactful, like how Undertaker and AJ Styles cinematic match was impactful. They did one heck of a presentation putting it together. This match, it was put together well as a presentation, but, there was barely anything to remember. Just how Lumis was always one step ahead of Grimes and, always, coming to him from behind and stuff like that. And, just Grimes acting like a scaredy cat and, trying to get away from Grimes, wanting to get out of the haunted house. And then they divided it into two parts. I don't know if that hurted more the presentation or whatnot, but I felt, okay, they continue it, then they took it back to the arena, and then they ended it. I was like, at the end, just pretty much that. But that's what I had to say about that one. So it was okay and not okay. So there were mixed feelings about that presentation of the Haunted House of Terror between Lumis and Grimes. So that is that for talking about the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT this week. Hopefully the following week will be just as good and prosperous. But I want to jump into SmackDown. First and because this is something that we definitely got to talk about. So, as we get into the story, we have right here Friday Night SmackDown ratings for last night above average back on Fox. So it says SmackDown ratings are back up above, returning to Fox. This week's SmackDown drew 2,133,000 viewers.
You could say that.
It's what it says right here.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
This is up 59% from last week's show that aired, of course, on FS1. This week saw 1,252,000 viewers increase with the show coming back on Fox. Compared to the 2 weeks previously on Fox, this week's show was up from that as well. From the show 2 weeks ago, SmackDown was up 7% with a 147,000 viewer increase. That was won, of course, last night by Shark Tank that ended up coming out on ABC over 4.2 million viewers. Now, as far as the demographics go, from 18 to 49, SmackDown did an 0.6, 18 to 34 demo, it did an 0.3, and in the 50 plus, they did a 2. The overall important demo of 18 through 49, it was tied for the top spot with Shark Tank. They also tied with that show for the top spot in the 18 to 34 demo as well. The hourly breakdown for the first hour, the total was 2,115,000. 18 to 49 with a 0.6, 18 to 34 demo with a 0.3, and 50 plus demo with a 2. The second hour went up to 2,151,000. 18 to 49 with a 0.6, 18 to 34 with a 0.3, and 50 plus demo with a 2. So, you already saw the story. What is it that we know about who was in control of the SmackDown show last night? Because we know that it's Triple H.
Yes.
Do you know any more insight about it?
Not really. I mean, all I could say is that ever since the spring of, or should I say, the summer of this year, around that time frame, WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon vested his full faith on Bruce Pritchard to head the creative direction of both Raw and SmackDown. And I gotta say that pretty much Bruce Pritchard is doing a good job, even though the numbers can barely tell. Because SmackDown's doing good, but Raw barely does so much. But bottom line I can say is that even though the man had a hard job taking care of the creative direction of one show, and now the creative direction of 2 shows frankly can be overwhelming. And because of that, the man pretty much went at it for months, and he pretty much said, I like this, and all, but quite frankly, it does take its toll on people to say, how do you want this show to go? Because eventually it is the boss, the promoter say it has to be done my way. And I just want to point out, sometimes you got to be careful, because sometimes what the promoter wants, sometimes what the fans want, obviously is not the same thing, because they let you know the moment they express the disapproval of a certain show or segment the moment they stop watching, because that's the most important. And especially when they go on social media, where they go on Instagram, where they go on Facebook or Twitter, and they say, this is not what we want to see. That's what they tell the company. That's what we want to see in the show. But nonetheless, like a human being, I feel for Bruce Pritchard. But nonetheless, Vince McMahon is the one in charge. I sometimes, and I'm saying this honestly, I sometimes question his decisions, but hopefully it'll be for the better. But you are the one to voice your opinions, what you want to see, because that's why you have these social media accounts. And bottom line is that when we don't tell them what we don't tell them how we should do a show, but we can say this. Okay, this is what you're good at doing. Keep doing. This is what we don't want. Like this segment is awful and all that stuff. So because everything that they do, anything WWE does, anything AEW does, anything Impact does, Ring of Honor, whoever, anything they do is for the fans.
Well, then you're probably not gonna like this. I think it's stupid, but what do you feel about name changes as of late? With the way some wrestlers had their names changed in the last number of months, like for example, Mustafa Ali had his name changed, shortened to Ali. Bobby Roode to Robert Roode, and it stayed. For Ali's, it went back to Mustafa Ali. Who else had a name change? Well, those are just some examples. Another name just got changed.
Which one?
Matt Riddle to simply Riddle.
Ooh.
But I seen a Wrestle Talk video, and of course, with Matt Riddle's tweet, he embraced it because he made it official that sometimes they call him just simply Riddle, and he don't mind it. So that's positive feedback from the guy that, whether he's known as Matt Riddle or just simply Riddle, he embraces it. He embraces the change. He don't mind it at all. That's something that you don't hear every day from superstars who be getting those name changes, and you got to live with it no matter how much you hate it. Riddle is the only guy that I heard so far that embraces that change. And then we don't even know if this name change, whether quote unquote, no matter how high Vince McMahon is on the idea, if it's going to stick with Riddle forever. Or this is just something short term, or this is just something within 6 to 8 months until Vince McMahon decides, you can use your whole name again, back to Matt Riddle. Doesn't matter. But yeah, and I don't know if you noticed it last night when we were watching back the DVR recording, but during the interview with Lars Sullivan that Corey Graves had, he mentioned Riddle. He mentioned just Riddle, no Matt Riddle or anything, just simply Riddle. So having to get used to that, it's like, okay, that's another name change from Vince McMahon. Gotta live with it and see how long this one's gonna last. So yeah, that's one of the latest changes that I personally don't like, because once again, Vince McMahon is high on the idea of, I think we're going to change your name. Let's just call you Riddle. All right. So yeah, that took place this week, and I don't like it. But Riddle's the one that made it official on his Twitter account that he embraces the change, and that's cool that he acknowledges that, and he don't have no issues with it because he's been used to it. So that's a good thing. Reading it from the man Riddle.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are the top 5 viewed highlights on YouTube. We're going to start from number 5. Bayley challenges Sasha Banks to a rematch for the SmackDown Women's Championship for next week. As of last night. My apologies. This report just came out just today on the 31st. So, but then the numbers could change if we watch it back. It was viewed over 711,000 views. My take on that segment, it was evident. It was expected. For it to take place next week on SmackDown, I was like, okay. So we both know what's going to happen next week, obviously. The only thing that got me stunned was I could have swore I saw Sasha Banks coming in down to the ring, wearing the SmackDown Women's title, and here I thought she was wearing a full white outfit. Here I thought she was coming in looking like a virgin. Sorry, I gotta say it, but that's how I felt when I first saw her. I mean, nothing wrong with how she looks. I mean, she looks stunning in that outfit. But then when coming back from the commercial break and then literally seeing the detail of her outfit, oh, okay, it's a white and yellow type of thing. Like, it's good. Because here I thought it was just simply her white outfit, and of course, mixed with her blue hair lagoon type of look with the SmackDown Women's title. Okay, it's a blend, blue and white. But then, like I said, after seeing in full detail coming back from from the commercial break, it was a white and yellow type of outfit. Still looks stunning. Still. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know if you want to add anything else to this.
Well, just that that Sasha gave it her all last Sunday at Hell in a Cell, and yeah,
she did.
That
match was, they raised the volume on their intensity, their aggression towards each other, and I expected Sasha to bring out more out of her to get at her friend, even though they are friends in real life off the camera. But when that camera goes on, they have to be convincing enough that, yeah, there is a disdain between one another. Yeah, they gave it their all in that match, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say that, yeah, we all know what's gonna happen. Everybody knows what's gonna happen because nobody wants to see the Bayley championship reign repeat again. So it's pretty evident that the boss is still gonna retain the SmackDown Women's belt for I guess months even. But we'll see how this championship rematch will transpire. But we all know what's gonna be the end result.
Right. The number 4 video is the match for the qualifying match for Survivor Series between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. That video was seen over 849,000 times. I gotta say, that match really, really got to me as a viewer. It looked like we were seeing some really good stuff from Daniel Bryan, and it looked like we were almost seeing some close to good stuff from Jey Uso until Roman Reigns came out there with Paul Heyman, and I felt immediately that Roman was there to bring more out of Jey Uso, and that's exactly what happened. So Jey saw that he needed to get it done on Daniel Bryan. Now, what unfortunately I didn't hear at the very end of the match was that Jey Uso didn't even acknowledge him as the tribal chief, but he says, I'm with you. He says, I'm with you. I get it. I understand. You're the head of the table. I'm with you. So, with Daniel Bryan already barely getting up or trying to get up, still woozy, something told me as Roman was looking over Daniel Bryan's beat up carcass, Jey Uso had to show Roman how deep he is with him on that fact. And boy, did he went to town. Jey Uso went to town on Daniel Bryan. So, and boy, did he went to town with him.
Well, I gotta start off by saying last Sunday at Hell in a Cell, Jey gave it his all, but unfortunately, he was unable to defeat Roman. And as the stipulation goes, there was a set of consequences per the loser. So Roman won, and all Roman wanted was for Jey to acknowledge him as the tribal chief. And on that qualifying match last Friday against Daniel Bryan, it was clearly evident that Jey was somewhat reeling from the follow of that match. But then when he saw Roman he said he had no other choice but to follow the line and say, I gotta prove myself in front of the tribal in front of the tribal chief, in front of a family member of mine, and say he pretty much took he pretty much gave it his all. Daniel Bryan gave it his all, but Jay, all of a sudden that spark came out of Jay, and when it said which Jay defeated Daniel Bryan, but obviously the defeat wasn't enough. So of course, as we saw last Friday night, Jay had to maul Daniel just to fall in line behind Roman.
Another thing that I wanted to acknowledge was the fact of how emotional this story was getting. And we were seeing that also this past Sunday at Hell in a Cell. How emotional it's gotten between Roman and the Usos. How this was a reflection of what they've been through in the past as teenagers. How Roman was always a tough one. He wanted to make the Usos more tougher, how they always be, beating up against each other and all of that, and that's something that everybody can be familiar with, and how to toughen up as when brothers and people of the same age range, they want to, they're always close and they help toughen each other, every single individual there. But that really got to me as a viewer. It really did, and it got me in that gripe position to where it's like, hey, it's like we've all been there before, and they're bringing that out, very, very emotionally hooked onto that story. Something told me once Roman Reigns came back at SummerSlam, he was going to be a part of something really important, and we're starting to see that unfold before our very eyes. So this is something different that Roman and the Usos are going to be involved with, and how this is going to widen out even more once next week comes about and we see Jimmy come into the fold, and how all of this is going to come together. But I also question who else is going to be added into this Samoan tribal group, because Roman's ahead of the table. He's already got the okay from Afa and Sika, his father and uncle. Now I just want to see something more added to the story, but not to the point where it's going to get watered down or anything like that. Something firm, something strong. This is bloodline that we're dealing with, because yes, Afa and Sika got this ball rolling, already for the last number of centuries. And the Samoans is a dynasty that will never go away. It's already in the history books that people should, especially the young viewers who don't know nothing about this, they should go back into the archives and read about it, or watch the matches if you got the network, and how this evolutionized, after time. Because now Roman Reigns is in a position where, he already knows what it's like to be in that position, how tough it is, the amount of pressure that it has to be dealt with, and all of that. That's why he knows. That's why he wants to be there, and that's why he wants to, with a firm fist to control SmackDown and WWE with it, to say, hey, you got a solid guy here who knows what he's dealing with, and that can take SmackDown and the company to a whole other level. But now with the backing of the Usos with him. Who else is going to be added? That I want to see as well. Because there's still other family members who should be with them, like Nia Jax, despite the fact that she's in a segment with Shayna Baszler for the WWE Women's Championship. Tamina is another one who WWE hasn't done much with since. It's always been on and off with her. They did something good in the beginning, but WWE they didn't know what to do with her. and they'd be using her on and off. But hopefully, like for this, they should bring in a strong female and make something out of her. To me, it would be the perfect candidate. Those are the only ones I can think of. Those are the only two people that I can think of. I can't think of anybody else. Maybe Naomi. She may not be Samoan bloodline, but she is married to Jey Uso, right?
Or was it Jimmy?
That's the part I'm confused. But she's married to one of them, nonetheless. But still, being a part of that family bloodline, she has to be there with her husband, nonetheless. And that's going to make that family a whole lot stronger. And of course, you got to make something out of Naomi too as well. I mean, we've already seen her in so many positions, good or bad, being a SmackDown Women's Champion, I think more than once already. But now with a strong heel group, I think that'll add a whole lot more because Naomi can definitely be a whole lot stronger than we all think. And while we're still on this topic, the third video that's been seen, and check this out. Of course, the first segment that came out on SmackDown, Roman Reigns promised Jey Uso will fall in line. This video has been seen over 1 million views. Now, this continues off the emotional opening of this storyline from what took place at Hell in a Cell. If you can recall how Jimmy came in already at the point where Jay's not even gonna say I quit during the match, but it already got to Jimmy and he did not like what was going on in that ring. You're already feeling that emotional breakout. How Roman was in that period already down and just cried for a bit. It could be a lure to get that out of his system and come back to reality and choke out Jimmy until he pulled Jay and gonna realize like, hey, he's choking me. It's like, come on. And of course that forced Jay to quit. But yeah, that emotion still continued when Jay still said to Roman, I hate you. Because this is now what he wanted to see out of his cousin. That this is not him. This is not Roman. Like, who the heck is he dealing with here? And of course, Roman, in his own ways, he's telling him, it's like, hey, I love you. I don't want you to see. I don't want you to go through this anymore. Just, you will fall in line. Bottom line. So that was what led to, of course, the match with Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso and the outcome that happened after that. Second video that also has been seen over 1 million views. Seth Rollins fuels the fire between Murphy and the Mysterios. Now, I gotta say, in that segment where supposedly Murphy was going to come out and apologize to Rey and Dominic, with Aaliyah by Murphy's side. And I'm surprised Angie's not there. Rey's wife, Angie, is not there. But still to say that now she's seeing things with an open mind. That Aaliyah's 19 already. So, yeah, a very nice-looking senorita, by the way. So now Murphy comes out. He wants to apologize in front of the whole world to Rey and Dominic. And yes, it's expected. Here comes Seth. He speaks his piece. And then a little bit afterwards, Dominic comes out, gets at Seth Rollins. Murphy breaks it up. Murphy wants a piece of Seth. And then Dominic gets in there. And then, of course, there's a little shoving. And then they get after each other. Murphy was already getting a little bit ahead. Rey was already coming down. And Rey was about to give some of Murphy until Aaliyah got in the middle of it. And then already there's an argument of disagreement between father and daughter once again. And now I see a 19-year-old who is ready to make decisions for herself. Does this mean that she's heel in my eyes? No. Not just obviously she's seen something that I feel is not there. I still feel, in my view, that this is all a plot between Seth Rollins and Murphy. How they're driving the perfect wedge against the Mysterios to get Aaliyah away from them and just go against their family in a way. To go against the men of the family. So now Aaliyah states that she loves Murphy and she proves it by kissing him. I'm like, whoa, what the f am I seeing here? Like, what the f is this? Like, seriously, man. Like, damn. But once I saw that, I said to myself, okay, this is a story where this 19-year-old is making a decision for herself, whether daddy and brother like it or not. She declares she loves Murphy. Obviously, with that settled, she's going to be by Murphy's side. So, yeah, this rivalry is not over. Now we're just going to see how all of this is going to further itself as we see it along. And we're just going to see how this story is going to continue a whole lot further from here.
Yeah, and especially after what transpired last Friday in that summit, because when Murphy came out with Aaliyah, all Murphy wanted to do was, well, let's just say hypothetically, he wanted to prove himself and say, yeah, I've been abused by Messiah. Like, let's say, it's pretty much say to him, like, I've awoken and I know who I'm dealing with, and I don't want to be this guy's slave anymore. But if it's still not enough, because they still believe in their hearts that Aaliyah is still being played for a fool. That right now that is still an unknown until it is revealed that this was all a master plan perpetrated by Rollins and Murphy. But right now there's still questions to be asked, and we will not get answers until we know for sure if Murphy does really have feelings for Aaliyah. What is Seth Rollins, and what is the true intentions of Seth Rollins, and why this disdain, why this hatred, if you will, towards Rey Mysterio.
So yeah, I can't wait to see what Friday will ensue as far as the story goes with the Mysterios, Murphy, and the Messiah, the Friday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. And of course, the number one most viewed clip on YouTube is unseen footage of Jey Uso's brutal attack on Daniel Bryan. This one was seen over 2.6 million times. So obviously this has got to be an extra from when the beating took place and the show went off the air. Now I'm going to have to check that out to see how gruesome it got, because it was getting more gruesome. It was getting more thuggish beating, as I can say. But yeah, when they went off the air and Roman was walking away all calm and, evil grin about it, Jey Uso was doing the damage. And what damage? With the way this is going between Daniel Bryan, I don't even know if he's going to come back from this. I don't know if this is how they're going to write him off the story. But there was also a clip that took place on Talking Smack. This was weeks before Hell in a Cell, where there was a talk about Daniel Bryan retiring. I don't know that was just talk or whatnot. I didn't even got to see that. Didn't pay much attention, but I'm going to have to go back to rewatch that. And if it is what I think it is, then we're not going to be seeing much of Daniel Bryan, or at least to say for his future, because now with what took place and Daniel Bryan's not a part of the Survivor Series team, maybe there will be something. Maybe there's nothing definite for him, because the previous week during, I guess, the season premiere of SmackDown, Daniel Bryan came in, was talking with the virtual world of WWE Universe, and then Seth Rollins came in, and then, there was a beating going on. So here I thought there was going to be something fresh to watch, but that wasn't the case. That was just a one-night thing. And then, of course, Daniel Bryan has this match with Jey Uso to qualify for Survivor Series, and then all of this ensued. So there's a huge question mark right now on Daniel Bryan to see what the heck is going to be next for him. But with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, it's looking very sharp. We should see how this is going to go with Jimmy coming back next week, and if this is going to be a trio of sorts in a solid family unification of sorts, the Samoan bloodline, and you got a solid trio right here that is going to do damage to whoever steps in front of them. So that is that for SmackDown. Now we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw and what took place there. So one of the segments that took, well, first of all, let's just talk about Elias's new production. I haven't got a chance to hear all of it, but it's funny how they're keeping this timeline or this time fraction of how it went from number 2 to number 1 within a matter of a couple of hours during the show. And Elias's new production of, what was it,
Universal Truth.
Universal Truth. I was already number 1, within the musical ranks. And, the previous that he has played, it was some decent music. But now I want to check out the rest of his tracks to see how good it really is, for starters. And speaking of Elias, for next week, I'm seeing here, since we're seeing a lot of back and forth guitar breakings on himself and Jeff Hardy, it looks like next week for Raw, there's going to be a guitar on a pole match. So this is official. Let me see here. Okay, so it's saying about the championship and who's coming for him. Okay, so as far as matches go, WWE has announced that there will be a guitar on a pole match coming up this Monday on Monday Night Raw. And, of course, Jeff Hardy will go against Elias. Because of last week and how it was going at Hell in a Cell, they were breaking each other's backs with guitars. And obviously there's nothing settled. So hopefully this match sells it because, we're seeing a lot of Jeff Jarrett's here and breaking guitars. Like if this was 2000, but we're in 2020, of course. So hopefully this match will settle the beef with guitars and between Jeff Hardy and Elias. So that's pretty much that. Let's see who else. So, of course, we know this coming Monday, okay, so the New Day will take on Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander of the Hurt Business. Also, we will see the women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They will take on the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Now, I got to say, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, they're shaping up to be one hell of a team, a very effective one. These guys started out very good. They're on one heck of a positive momentum. And maybe they could be the team that can give the run for the money of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So I guess we'll see next week how that match is going to go. But I still believe, this is not even for the championships. Yeah, this is non-title. So this could be a step up. If they get lucky, they could be the next number one contenders for those belts. So it is possible to see what's going to happen from there. And there is 2 more spots for the Raw side for the guys for Survivor Series. So far, AJ Styles has advanced. He's the first. Keith Lee advanced. And, of course, Sheamus advanced. So there will be 2 more matches to be seen for Raw this upcoming Monday. So all of that is for next week. Let's talk about what happened this week, of course. And then we'll get to one of the stories that I want to address before we are done with this show. One of these segments that we did see was Little Miss Bliss, Miss Alexa Bliss, had her moment of bliss with Randy Orton. And I thought, from the original, it was a little bit twisted, and only the way that she can perform such different twist to her character, because of course she's now with the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Now you can definitely say that for Orton, he's definitely going to be such marked man, because now he's got the championship. Drew McIntyre's not going to go anywhere. But from the moment that interview was cut short and the Fiend popped up, you can definitely tell that there was some installment of fear within Randy Orton, and he did not look back. Well, he kind of sensed them in from behind him, but he didn't went after him. So that just goes to show how much fear Orton has for the Fiend, and he went right to Drew McIntyre and beat the hell out of each other to finish Raw this past Monday.
Well, let me start off by saying that we go back to last Sunday, Hana. So both Drew and Randy gave it their all, and I got to give kudos to Drew McIntyre for that practically 6-month reign as WWE champion. He gave it his all, but unfortunately, Randy got the best of him that night, and that is why he is now the 14-time WWE women, the 14-time WWE champion. But nonetheless, there is a ghost when it comes to Randy Orton's life or career, and that is the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And from what we saw last Monday at Raw, the Fiend will not rest until he tastes championship gold again. The only thing though is that Drew McIntyre is also on the hunt for Randy Orton, and pretty much it's gonna be like Randy Orton will do everything it takes to keep that WWE championship, and he doesn't want to deal with Randy. He doesn't want to deal with Drew McIntyre. He most definitely doesn't want to deal with the Fiend, but nonetheless, is like he's pretty much box stand right, because right now his sole goal at this moment is to pretty much go up against Roman Reigns for Survivor Series in a champion versus champion match bragging rights. But once all that's over with, now it's all back to business. Who will be the one gunning for Randy? Will it be Drew McIntyre? Will it be the Fiend? And eventually, who's gonna be gonna come for Randy and the WWE title? Because eventually the man is gonna be cornered. He's gonna have no escape, because Drew wants his belt back. The Fiend wants a shot at the belt, and eventually for Randy, well, obviously he can't. As much as he wants to find escape, he just can't.
That's right, and the story's only going to get more enticing coming up for Monday Night Raw next week. and we can't wait to see how further deep the Fiend's involvement will be with Randy Orton, since they already had history. Obviously, history that has been a little bit different than how it is now. Can't wait to see how the dynamic will be with the Viper against the Fiend, and still with Drew McIntyre's involvement as well. One of the stories I want to get into, I know we're not going to get into much of Raw, but we had to clean the important pieces of what happened this past Monday. One of the stories that broke out was that Miko Satomura will be joining NXT UK. She's one of the top female wrestlers in the world, and WWE was very interested in signing her. So the story goes, WWE recently began filming NXT UK, and the big thing they did when they first came back was to set up the Heritage Cup. They also set up Dragunov going after the NXT UK champion Walter. As far as the women's division, Piper Niven set her eyes on the title, but one top female may be coming in. So according to Tokyo Sports, they report that Miko Satomura is expected to join NXT UK possibly in early November. They state that she will be used as a wrestler and a coach. So during a press conference before the Sendai Girls Miyagino Ward Cultural Center show, Satomura stated, and I quote, "I can't tell anything at the moment," while speaking about limiting her time with Sendai Girls. Speaking of what could be next, she says, and I quote, "To move on to a next stage in life, I'm thinking of making a big bet, but I'll talk to you again when I have more details." So far, WWE has not announced Satomura coming into the company, and she was very vague about what's going to happen next. She competed for WWE back in 2018 during the Mae Young Classic tournament, and was a coach for the Performance Center as well that same year. So I haven't heard anything about Satomura, although that she's one heck of a wrestler. They're very interested in her, and WWE capitalized in acquiring her. So I think they will get one heck of a package as far as her wrestling and being a coach for the NXT UK division of the women's division on that side. So can't wait to see how that story goes, and and how it's all going to work out for Miko Satomura. One of the stories that we want to close out with is that unfortunately for wrestlers who have their Twitch channels, they have already come to an end, unfortunately. Talking about AJ Styles, Aleister Black with Selena Vega, Paige, and others. Their Twitch channels are no more, and it's unfortunate that their Twitch channels are already banned for now. I'm not going to say for good, but it feels like for now, as I was getting into that story. But as I'm getting into the story, I'm going to read it out. WWE superstars reportedly met with Vince McMahon to stop Twitch bans. So I guess this could be an aftermath. I don't know. I'm going to get into it right now. So it says superstars went straight to the top regarding their Twitch channels. Yesterday, we saw the first wave of WWE superstars having to suspend any activity on their Twitch channels. We saw statements from AJ Styles, Mia Yim, Cesaro, Zelina Vega, and Aleister Black, and a few others, saying after this week they do not know the next time they will be able to stream again on Twitch. Even Paige, who went on an emotional roller coaster ride about what may happen to her channel and how it was not fair. For all we know, no WWE superstar with a YouTube channel has made any statements regarding having to suspend those, as a number of superstars are also on YouTube and posting regularly. In a new report from Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Johnson reports that several WWE talent met with Vince McMahon and argued against the Twitch ban. This seemingly got nowhere, as we stated, a number of superstars put out their statements of not knowing the next time that they can stream. The report goes on to state that WWE is planning on making a big push for their own Twitch channel in the coming weeks. Wow, this is a first. WWE already has a channel on Twitch that they air the bump and pre-shows on. Yet, if they are looking to ramp up their own channel by having talent only able to stream on their official WWE channel, there can be an issue there. What if multiple people want to stream at the same time? What if they want to stream together but not all on the same feed? What if they don't want to stream the same stuff at all? Or what if they want to stream something and WWE does not approve of that? Is this going to be like is school when you have to sign up for a time to use the computer lab or something? So yeah, those questions are pretty interesting to raise up, because all of this has to be figured out if AJ wants to do a Twitch streaming, if Zelina Vega and Aleister Black wants to do a streaming on Twitch, if Cesaro wants to do a streaming on Twitch, if Mia Yim wants to do a streaming on Twitch, and so forth. How is this all going to work? Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Paige, because while I was taking a break at work and I was watching back everything she had to say, I can understand Paige's pain and frustration. Since you didn't watch it, I'll point out to you some of the quotes that she has stated, and they are very true to life. She stated how she, on two occasions, she broke her neck for that company. How they're not using her right now. How they only used her from time to time. They're not doing anything with Paige. So what is that going to look for her future? She can't wrestle anymore. She stated she cannot wrestle anymore. How is that going to work out for Paige? I mean, I feel for Paige because I like Paige. From the stuff she's done to NXT to when she came out to primetime on Raw, Paige was golden. And unfortunately, she suffered on 2 occasions broken neck issues. I guess now she's telling us she can't wrestle anymore, which is very, very unfortunate. And I really do feel for Paige. I really do. The only thing that she can do while she can stream, say what's on her mind all at once, is doing a Twitch streaming on her own channel, because that's how she vents her frustration. That's how she can be at one with her fans. That's how she can, if she's doing a monetary thing, that's how she can get something for herself. Or not. I don't know how she does it, but that's how Paige is still relevant with the wrestling world. How she catches up to all of her fans, bottom line. But Paige says that she might still continue with this thing. I see her more determined to continue with this more than leaving it. But I really can't state it. Only she can. And if it is official, well then, as a fan, I'm behind her all the way. Because, it is unfortunate after everything that Paige has been through, that it's leading up to this. To where WWE has nothing for her yet. Hopefully, they should keep her more in mind, because she's not doing anything. She's only probably doing appearances or whatnot, but it's obviously not enough for her. Because Unfortunately, this pandemic can only go so far, but it can only do and have effect very little on people that don't know what their immediate futures are during this unfortunate period of time that we're all living. Your opinion about this?
Here's what I have to say, and yes, I agree with you, and yes, it is unfortunate what's going on with Paige, knowing full well that she can get back at me. But the one thing I want to point out is that these superstars, Paige, AJ, Cesaro, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, pretty much what Vince McMahon and the best should look at is say their content in any way, shape, or form. They put on content that in any way, shape, or form does not reflect the WWE or what they do. They're just they just do stuff. They want to vlog, like AJ's a gamer. AJ likes to play games because we saw like when we played.
They're pretty much all gamers.
Yes,
they're all gamers, of this generation. Him, Xavier Woods.
Yes.
Especially for his channel, he's got up, down, down.
Yes.
One of the best channels I've ever seen. Cesaro streams because he's a gamer as well. I don't know about Aleister Black, but I know Zelina Vega is a gamer because she's a Mortal Kombat fan. I know that. Mia Yim is a gamer. So they're pretty much gamers, all of them, of this generation, unless if I'm wrong. But there's a reason for them to have something on the side besides, once they're done with TV and work out and they got a little time to themselves to relax. Because from what I got to witness, Xavier Woods, he carries his stuff with him. Like whenever he's got some alone time or whether he's got some time to, do a little streaming with a WWE superstar or superstars, there's always something extra that they want to do because that's how into it they are. That's how passionate they are about gaming, streaming altogether, or whatever the thing may be. But I'm pretty sure they're all gamers of this generation with the consoles that there are or something old school. But they're doing that for this reason because they love to do it.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that why would Vince McMahon and WWE try to stop it? Because if they use those platforms to divulge what goes on in the company, that for all intents and purposes, they should not have Twitch channels or any streaming platforms at all. But they are doing what they do on the private side because these are human beings, because they know that when it's the entertainment, when it's the public, they say, oh yeah, we leave that. But as long as they're on their private souls, they say this is something I'm proud of doing. Said this is not me enhancing my image. This is the person that I really am.
This is something that I gotta say right now. It's all back to that legal mumbo jumbo about we own the likeness and the property of your stage name, AJ Styles, Mia Yim, Cesaro, all of that. So it's like it's all linked with the WWE. So that's the gripe that Vince McMahon has with these folks doing streams on Twitch and all of that, because it could get into legal proceedings and if something goes bad or it could lead to anything negative, I guess. But here's another issue. These superstars have created a following. This all goes back to the term that a former president of Turner Sports for WCW, Dr. Harvey Schiller, stated so many times during the episodes of the Monday Night War. It's all about the superstars and the following. These superstars have been created to have a following. So wherever they go, they got the fans to go with them. So no matter what AJ's been involved with as of late, Twitch, Mixer, whatever, they want more of AJ outside of WWE. They're going to follow him besides social media. Same thing with Mia Yim. She's got something on Twitch or whatever outside of WWE. They're going to follow her. Same thing with Cesaro. Same thing with Aleister Black, Zelina Vega. Same thing with Paige. Whoever's got channels, stuff outside of social media, there's a following. Wherever they're going, it's going to go that way. So fans, we're going to stop it right here. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week, and we're going to do some more good and bad of everything that happens. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW wise, our time is up. We'll check you out in the next one. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like all of the videos that we're a part of. This is Jade, AceMon X. Have a good night. Remember, we're going back an hour, and always mask up. See you then. Peace and love worldwide. Thank you very much for joining us.